So again, a big hello to you all for being here today, and it's great to have you here in the session. As I've just mentioned, these online seminars are recorded each week, and so if you are unable to attend live, then you can catch up via the recording, and I'll post the recording soon after the session. And so that will be available in the weekly topic folders, just near where the lecture recording is provided there too. So you'll be able to access that on the Friday at the end of each week if you're unable to attend live. Obviously, attending live is ideal, but we know that sometimes that doesn't always happen. Another reason to come, of course, to the seminars is a great way, of course, to stay engaged with the content. We will be focusing on doing more sort of interactive activities based on the weekly content. And just sort of trying to find some ways to apply and analyse those concepts and see how they work in the real world. And as much as possible, when we are looking at those theories, try and relate them to your own experiences. And that could be through if you are working currently or perhaps have worked in the past, but you're not at a disadvantage if you don't have work experience, because a lot of our concepts can be applied to your previous schooling experiences, or maybe if you play sport, you know that has an organisational structure, and so you might be able to apply those concepts to your sporting team. But McDonald's is always a good example, and we're all very familiar with that one, the fast food restaurant there. So the point is, the seminars, we try to make them interactive and relate them to a variety of different examples. The other advantage, of course, of coming to the seminars, we do talk about the assessment. So this is a great place to have your questions answered, and to, if you're confused or just need a bit of further clarification, then as I said, your questions, your comments are always welcome, and this is a great place to have those sorts of concerns cleared up. And I guess the third reason, of course, and it's certainly perhaps one of the most important, is the seminars are a great way for you to meet other students and to have that sort of connection with people who are in a similar situation as yourself, studying online. And it's also a great place to sort of perhaps form some study groups. If you've looked ahead at the assessment, you might have noticed that one of our assignments is a team assignment. And so you'll be forming a team with other online students. And so this might be one way, amongst many other ways, that you can form form your teams and meet people. So with that in mind, you've got the chat box there, and so do feel free to use that. In addition to what we're doing in the seminar activities and to contribute in that way, but you can also use that to communicate to each other and form connections there too. The microphone, hopefully you've all got a microphone, because it will be great to hear your voices, and again, do feel free to contribute and be confident. Now, these seminars, of course, some students feel a little bit of pressure, perhaps, if they haven't, they might be a bit shy about contributing because maybe they haven't watched the lecture, or they maybe haven't quite read the up-to-date with the chapter readings of the textbook. That's okay. Don't let that prevent you from coming along to the seminar. So, these are open to everybody, and we know that you can be busy, and many of you are working and have other commitments. So do come along, and you can always catch up with those resources at a later date. So there we go. That's a bit of an introduction to the seminars, and so with that in mind, we'll begin. Just a quick poll though, just to check our we're familiar with the emojis and those sorts of interactive tools in Zoom. Just a quick show of hands or thumbs up, or just a message in the chat. Who here is your first trimester at Deakin or in your degree? Oh, great. Okay, we've got a few people there. Excellent. Okay, and is there anyone, so for those who haven't yet put your hand, what are you in your second or final trimester? I know Simon mentioned in your second, we've got a few there. Okay, great. And what about what are you studying in your course? Bachelor of Business, Bachelor of Commerce, Cybersecurity, Commerce Arts, great. Business, Commerce Arts, Business Management, Human Resource Management, Psychology, great. Exercise, Sport, Science, Business, Organisational Psychology, great. So what a diverse group we are. And you can see in the chat box there maybe some people with some similarities to you. So you might be able to connect during the chat and meet up there and have something in common. Excellent. Okay, well, great. We're all so different, but but this unit, management, has something for everybody. Even if you might not be going into want to become a manager in the future, this unit teaches those foundation concepts and theories that relate to managers and organisations in general. And it's really good grounding for all of us, because it gives us that insight into how things operate, why decisions are made, and the rationale behind that. And it's something for everybody. So, and then as you progress through your degree, you can specialise in different areas if you choose to. And because we cover a lot of those topics that you can then go into in more detail later on. Great. Okay, well, that's a fantastic start. Thanks, everyone. Well, what we'll do next, before we do go too much further, this is an acknowledgement of country. And so again, this is something that we try to do in the lectures every week. And it's something that the university has taken on board. And you might have noticed, if you're working, that your place of work is also acknowledging First Nations people in these ways. And most businesses and community centres, sporting groups are all increasingly acknowledging and recognising our Indigenous people. So could I ask if a volunteer would like to do our acknowledgement of country? Be great if we could hear from someone. No need to be shy. You can. Okay, all right. We've got no volunteers. So I'll do the acknowledgement of country, and then we'll begin our session. So as we gather for this meeting, physically dispersed and virtually constructed, let us take a moment to reflect the meaning of place, and in doing so, recognise the various traditional lands on which we do our business today. We acknowledge the elders, past, present, and emerging of all the land we work and live on, and their ancestral spirits with gratitude and respect. So, does anyone know the difference between an acknowledgement of country and a welcome to country?
I'm pretty sure a welcome to country has to be done by someone who actually is Aboriginal.
Yeah, that's right. So this heading should actually read acknowledgement. So that's right, because I'm not a First Nations person, so it's an acknowledgement. Thank you for that. Simon, you got a query there?
Yeah, I noticed we don't really do the acknowledgement of country in any other unit. Is it because it's a business management course that you try and, like, the uni's trying to get us in the mindset of doing that because business does that these days? Is that the main reason why we're doing it in this unit? Because I don't think I've seen it in any other unit.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Not actually a formal introduction to the unit.
Oh,
In
great.
my other units, all my other units, they've done it. So maybe it's just a teacher thing.
And yeah,
Don't know.
so are you in commerce there, Jessica?
No, I'm in psychology.
Psychology, right. So yeah, I think increasingly in the commerce and business units there are, but maybe other people might have some other experiences there. But certainly this is something we've been doing for a little while now, and for those reasons that you just mentioned there, Simon, because it is something that organisations are doing, and you know, whether it's the football with their Guernseys and things like that, and so in the lectures we'll make that connection between organisations and how they are acknowledging this. So yeah, it's just, and it is a big part of what's happening with our country at the moment. But yes, it did start from that perspective. But it's great that other faculties and units are taking that on board, but maybe other units will do that at some point. Yeah, thanks for your question. That's really good. And it's nice to have that comparison as well. And to see the rationale behind our decision making is a really good thing to start with. So looking at our agenda for today, so you have a clear idea about what we're doing, and I can see someone's using the drawing tools. That's okay. So we'll begin with our welcome, and we've done our tech check, so everyone's on board with that, which is great. And you've got the chat box and the mics and the reaction tools, all really, really good. And as I mentioned, our activities today, I'll be sharing with you a couple of files through OneDrive, and that's as Deakin University students, you have access to Office 365, and perhaps you might be familiar with MS Teams, so it's in that sort of online platform. So I'll be sharing you a couple of files, but you can access the Word files through the week 1 folder, topic folder on Cloud Deakin. So all good there. Everyone will be able to access them in one way or another. And we'll do some group activities there just to understand some of those introductory concepts that came from chapter 1 and chapter 3 of the textbook. And then we'll wrap things up. So we'll plan to take probably the full 1 hour and 50 minutes, but we'll see how we go. In terms of introductions, though, let's begin with that. So, if we might have some volunteers, if you'd like to have a think and perhaps take a moment, just a minute or so, to introduce yourself, your name, what you're doing, and maybe something unusual about yourself. And if you know where you're from in terms of the traditional First People map that we looked at before. Yeah, so perhaps I'll start while you might be thinking. So my name is Alaya, and this trimester I'm taking the lectures on a Monday, and I'm also doing the online seminars. I've been involved in Triple M132 for a number of years now with Wendy and Donovan, and we've been working really well together because we really love management, and we're really keen to work with first year students in particular to help them transition into their degree and get familiar with university. And yeah, I've been at Deakin for a number of years, and I've run out of fingers and toes really to add that up. So I'm really looking forward to getting to know all of you. And I should say, being based at Burwood, I'm in the Wurundjeri land. So there we go. How about someone else? Would you like to introduce yourself and let us hear your voice and a little bit about you? It'd be great if you, again, I don't want to force people to do it, but it'd be great if people can just sort of nominate, and we can go through. If we've got a bit of a list, you can use the emoji to raise your hand and we can go in the queue like that. Kayla, go ahead. And thank you for being the first person.
Hi, how you going? My name's Kayla. Kayla is just fine for me. This is my first semester in a Bachelor of Arts in Business. I previously graduated with a Bachelor of Psychology at Deakin, so I'm an alumni, I guess. Something unusual about me, I guess it's not really unusual, but I have deaf parents. So I sign at home as my primary language. And I live in Larrakia country in Darwin.
In Darwin. What's the weather
Yeah.
like in Darwin at the moment, Kayla?
Dry and hot at the moment with just a touch of humidity, but that's better than 100% humidity.
Absolutely. Great stuff. Thank you so much, Kayla. Nice to meet you. And Devon, I think you're next.
I'm Devon. By recently, I mean this trimester, just switched from a Bachelor of Creative Writing to business. So this is my first trimester of business. Something unusual about me is I'm a homebody, so I just exist purely in my bedroom. And I don't know the traditional custodians of the land where I'm living right now because it's not my house, but back at my parents' house, it's Gurnai Kuna people. I don't know how you pronounce it.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Devon. Good to hear from you. And Daniel, you are next.
Yeah, my name's Daniel, and the course I'm doing is exercise sports science and business sports management. Something unusual about me, I go by Crunchy. That's my nickname. My whole life I've gone by that. I know I'm a bit old now to be going by that, but yeah. And I'm not too sure who the first people of where I live are.
And what would you like us to call you, Daniel? Would you like Daniel or?
I'm trying to drift away from Crunchy a little bit, just because it's probably not the best growing up, not the best to go by. So probably just Daniel's okay.
When you're running that Fortune 500 company?
Yeah, don't really want to be going by Crunchy then.
No worries. Well, if it was good enough for Twiggy Forrest, I suppose, to have a nickname, but yeah. Thank you, Daniel. And Yonghu, you're next.
Yep. Hi everyone, my name's Youngho. I am currently doing the Bachelor of Business and Management. This is my first year in Dickens. Something unusual about me, well, I guess the English is not my first language, so if you guys understand that, I would be very, very, very thankful. And number 4, I am actually not in Australia right now. I am currently living in Chile, so I don't know about the indigenous groups here.
Well, thank you very much. And what's the time for you in Chile?
There is actually a 14-hour difference, so right now it's 4:20 a.m.
Wow. Well, I certainly appreciate the effort you've gone to join us live, and that's going above and beyond. So great to have you here. Thank you very much. And Simon, how about you?
G'day. Yeah, I'm doing a Bachelor of Cybersecurity. A little bit of a career change for me. I've got I own a timber flooring business in the construction industry. I've done that for about 25 years, so I guess I'm the crusty old dude of the class. Something sort of semi-interesting about me is I teach boxing and self-defense as well as do other things.
Fantastic. Well, good to have you here. And age is no barrier.
That's good.
All are welcome. Thank you, Simon. And Anastasia, I hope I've pronounced your name correctly.
No, very close. It's Anastasia. So yeah, very close. So yeah, my name's kind of long, so you guys can just call me Anna. It's all good. And currently I'm doing a Bachelor of Psychology, majoring in organizational studies. Something unusual, I don't know. I'm Egyptian. Some people find that cool, so yeah. And I know that I'm from Eastern Melbourne, so I'm pretty sure that's the Wurundjeri people. Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much. Nice to have you here. And Jack, welcome to you.
Hi. Yeah, Jack's fine for my name. Course, I was originally doing Bachelor of Psychology for Childhood and Families. but have recently switched this trimester to do organizational studies, looking to sort of go towards like HR and that sort of stuff in the future. I was trying to think of something unusual about me, but not much to say really with that. And then traditional First People owners, we're in Geelong, so we're Wadawurrung.
Right, thank you very much. Yeah, it's a bit of a hard question to answer about yourself, isn't it? So I agree. But thank you very much, Jack, and good to have you here. And Jalal, welcome to you. Jalal Faraj, again, I hope I'm pronouncing
sorry,
your
I
name.
couldn't find the thing. Thank you.
No worries.
I'm in Wurundjeri land in Melbourne. Did I spell it correctly or say it correctly?
Yes, great.
Wurundjeri?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And I'm doing Bachelor of Cybersecurity. This is my second year, second semester. What else? Something unusual about me. I'm a full-time dad, full-time student, and a full-time defense. I work at defense, so full-time worker.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so you might need to be cloned, I think.
Just came from work.
Oh, great. Well, again, yeah, thank you for making the effort. Really appreciate that. And
Thank you.
Yeah, we do realise people are living very busy lives and juggling a lot of things. So making the effort to come along, even if it is just for a short time, really appreciate that. Great, thank you, and welcome to you, Jalal.
Thank you.
All right, well, I think that's everybody who wanted to speak. Again, we'll have lots of opportunities. Again, do feel welcome to contribute as we go along in the class. And I can see this, Carla, welcome to you. You've added something there in the chat box there too. You've got kids at the dinner table, and yes, no, completely understand. And Etienne, you've also added in the chat box there. Big football soccer fan. Yes, the Women's World Cup is coming up, so maybe you'll be watching that. Thank you so much, everyone. So let's begin, and we'll turn to our unit. And so let me just get that slide up. Here we are. And so this is just a bit of an overview, just to see where you're at in terms of what's going on in Triple M 132 and how you're finding these resources. So just a quick question, maybe we can have see who's the fastest at replying, either in the mic or in the chat there. So the week 1 learning outcomes, where will you access those? So every week we'll have some learning outcomes, and these will guide your studies. Where can you find them? The unit guide will have the graduate learning outcomes and the unit learning outcomes. Yes, and that's sort of in the overarching sort of aims and objectives of our unit and how it fits into the university's graduate learning outcomes. But this is relating to the weekly topic and the learning outcomes that you'll study each week. So yes, they come from the textbook. You're right, and so once you know the chapters and the links are in the weekly topic folders on Cloud Deakin, they generally match there. And you can also have a look in another place too, on the lecture slides. They'll be on the lecture slides and as well. So this week, for example, we were looking at 2 chapters in the textbook, and we didn't cover all of the learning outcomes for that week. So there is sometimes a little bit of a variation. So maybe have a look at the lecture slides as your point of reference first, but they do match with the textbook. The learning outcomes will become more important from week 5 onwards, because the learning outcomes will be the basis of the exam revision. So potentially any one of those learning outcomes could become a potential question in the exam, and so they will be your guide for what to study and what those key concepts to focus on. So to be a little bit more strategic in your readings there. Okay, what about the assessment? Have you had a look at the assessment? Assignment 1. How many parts to assignment 1? Great, 2 parts, excellent. And so we've divided them into assignment 1.1 and assignment 1.2. And 1.1 is a preparation tasks. And when is that due? Week 5, 8th of August, excellent. And assignment 1.2? Great, week 8, excellent. So the idea behind that is that the 3 tasks that you do in 1.1, they're teaching you, or you'll be showing us, your ability to do foundation academic skills. And again, you know, from what we've learned from your input there, we're all different, we're all at different stages. And some of us are learning these skills for the first time, others have more experience of them. And so the idea is that you'll have practice with these skills of researching sources, using source information into your writing by paraphrasing and using direct quotes, using referencing and those sorts of things in a smaller format, and then you'll get constructive feedback on that, and you can keep doing those good things, or you know that you've got to make some adjustments for the longer and a bigger weighted assignment 1.2, which is a business report. So so that's the thinking behind that, and so it's just learning those skills in a smaller format so that you're well prepared, and hopefully we'll get a better outcome in that longer format for the business report, which is 1.2. And we'll give you lots of support and resources to help you with all of that. Okay, and what about, so that's assignment 1, and there's assignment 2. Tell me about assignment 2. Oh, actually, before we do that, I should look at the companies for assignment 1 while we're talking about assignment 1. Oh, yes, group assignment is assignment 2. That's right. How many people in your group? 5 people, that's right. So for online students, you've got to find other online students. And anyone looked ahead at what you're trying to achieve in your group? What it is that you have to do? Yes, that's right. So as a team, you will create PowerPoint slides. So I think in total it's about 13. So each slide has a particular purpose that you've got to address, and you'll do a presentation. That's right. So you'll do a video presentation via Zoom, and you all need to be present at the same time, and so between 5 people, it's a little over a minute each, and you'll present those PowerPoint slides in a Zoom format. So yeah, and that will be towards the end of the trimester. So plenty of time to form a team and to complete that assessment. Any thoughts about how you might find your team members? Discussion page, excellent. That's right. There is an online forum there, and you can find your team members through the discussion folder. Excellent. And of course, what you're doing here right now, you can join up with people here as well. So I will just share with you in the chat box that link, and team members, again, you've got plenty of time to do that, and that's the link to find team members for assignment 2 for online students. And you've got find your team members by Monday, September 11. And if you haven't done that by that time, Then on September the 12th, the next day, on Tuesday, we'll allocate those people who haven't yet registered into a team to join one. Sorry, Jessica, I just noticed you had your
Oh,
raise
I only
hand.
just put it up.
Oh, good.
I was just wondering, how do we register our team so
Yeah,
we don't get auto allocated?
great. Yes. And again, you've got plenty of time. So on the homepage, and I will share that with you now, if you can see the Cloud Deakin site.
Yep, we can see it.
Great, thank you. So on the top of the screen there's the functions tools and a drop-down menu, and you just click on groups. And it's something like manage groups. When I click on it, my view will be a little bit different, but it's basically, you'll see self-registration Burwood online, and you'll see something like join a group or manage a group, and then you just register into a team. And once you've found your team members, try and register or enroll into a group number at the same time, so that you'll be able to see who's in your team, and you'll be able to you have a discussion folder that you all can talk to each other on via your group discussion folder, and you can also share files in your locker. Most students tend to use other platforms like OneDrive or MS Teams, but that's an option there too. So yeah, so just through that way. So you just click on the group and you sign up. And the discussion folder is here. Here. So and there you go. So there's an image here, just to remind you, tools and groups. Okay, so and so yeah, that will be towards the end of the trimester, and again we'll provide you with support there with that. And again, if you sometimes we have a bit of movement with student numbers. So in the first few weeks, some people have change in circumstances and they might not continue with the unit. So so do keep, just if you do form a team, just to let other people know what your situation is, and communication is the key. So there we go. What about assignment 1 we were looking at before? You have to focus on one of 2 companies. Does anyone remember what those 2 companies are? AGL is one. Yes, that's right. And Transurban, excellent. So so you just need to focus on one of those companies for your assignment 1. And if you say, for example, choose AGL for assignment 1.1, and then you go, oh, actually, no, I think I might change my mind, and you do Transurban, that's okay. So when you're looking at assignment 1.1 and 1.2, they are separate submissions. They're marked by different markers, most likely, and we don't compare them. So likewise with assignment 1.1, there's one of the tasks is to do a draft table of contents for your report, and to present a draft reference list of the sources you plan to use for your report. And so when you go to write your report, you might go, actually, no, those sources aren't, I don't want to use those. That's okay too. So it is a draft. So again, we can talk about that a little bit later and check that. So that's something to keep in mind anyway. All right, and the last question there is about the exam. So what do you know about the exam? Great, 24 hours online. It's designed to be written could be completed in 2 hours, but you could take the full 24 hours if you choose to. It is open book, that's right, and it's not proctored. 6 questions, great, and you answer 4. Lots of details here. Very well prepared students, well done. That's right, and here's a bonus question. What are the topics in the exam? that might be asking a little bit much. The topics that are covered in the exam, oh, well done. Very impressed. Weeks 5 to 10. That's right. Well done. So, and that relates back to my previous comment about the learning outcomes. So from topic 5 through to topic 10, looking at those learning outcomes will really help you to focus your studies on what you need for the exam. Again, we'll provide you with lots of resources and support there. And in the seminars, we'll be doing lots of practice and discussions about the format and how you'd approach it, some study techniques and all of those sorts of things. Well done. So you're doing it's a mini essay format too, and your answers are about 400 words each. So 400 words by 400, but 400 words by 4, I should say, is the total there. Great. Oh, well, I think that's covered everything. Have I forgotten anything? Do you have any questions? Anything that you'd like to check? All good? Okay. All right. If you think of anything though, let me know, and we can always I can always go back to that. All right. So let's have a look now. We're only in week 1, so let's have a look at week 1. So, and I've got a meme here for you, and be interested to hear your thoughts about what this means to you. Anyone like to share? What do you understand this to mean? You can't manage other people unless you manage yourself first. Jack, go ahead.
Oh, well, yeah, everyone sort of said it in the chat, but yeah, you need to organize your own stuff before you try to organize everything else for a team kind of thing. You can't, delegate roles and jobs if, you haven't actually organized them yourself.
Absolutely. Well done. Thanks, Jack. Yeah, and in the chat, if you aren't organised, you can't organise others. You need to be organised and on top of things yourself. You have to have everything with yourself and job sorted before you can help others. Great. Yeah, exactly right. And so, and really that's our aim for week 1, making sure that you're in a good place to know what you need to do to succeed in this unit, but also in your other units as well. So things like what resources are there, what are the assessments, when are the due dates, what are the pressure points in the trimester where I've perhaps got to organise all those other aspects in my life to make sure that I can achieve these sorts of things. Meeting some study buddies and some friends who might be able to offer some support during the trimester as well. So yeah, exactly right. So with that in mind, here's something that we introduced in the week 1 class, and this was looking at the 4 functions of managers. And it comes from those early theories, and this is the sort of the modern version of it, but it's still very relevant today. And we've got the planning, organising, leading, and controlling. So it'd be great to hear from you again. What's your understanding of planning, and what does that mean, and maybe why that's important? Anyone want to go ahead? Again, microphone, chat box, all options are open. But what's planning about, and why is that important? What happens when we don't plan? Maybe I'll phrase it from a deficit model. Fail to plan, plan to fail. Yeah, well done. That's right. So planning, it is linked to success, isn't it? You need to start with why and what you're trying to achieve. Excellent. Yeah. What's my purpose here? What are my goals? It's a bit like how at the start of the unit, we cover the unit as a whole first, so we can plan the unit. Exactly. Yeah, that's right. It's great to link that to something quantifiable and tangible like the unit. Excellent. So yeah, what is it that you want to achieve? And as we saw at the beginning, we are all different. You are studying different courses. but we're all unified by this unit. But you're all trying to achieve different things. And for some of you, it may be that you're trying to attain a high distinction, but for others, it might be simply just sort of getting through it and doing the best you can, maybe a pass or a credit. And either approach is completely fine. Again, because we are so different and we've got other things going on. So what is it your goal, and what is it that you're trying to achieve? And then you'll go about obtaining some strategies. So looking at the due dates and the assessments, what's involved and what resources you'll need to do that. Great. And what about organising? So it flows on from the planning, but what's the planning, the organising about? Kiani's just said planning is about preparation to make sure that the job you're doing is done to the best of your ability. Great. Absolutely. And organising, here it mentions structure and human resource management. How does that fit in with things? Yeah, make sure things run smoothly. That's right. You've got your plans, and then how are you going to make sure that they go to place, work? Example, distributing different tasks to different people. Absolutely, yes. So it is about managing your resources, and that can be relating to people. And in an organisation, the people are its biggest resource. So in an organisational setting, it's putting them into departments or divisions, teams, and so that they can achieve their goals effectively. Having a management structure to ensure tasks are delegated and completed efficiently. Spot on, Ryan, there. How an organisational chart works, Chris. Yes, absolutely. And that's right. And different organisations, again, depending on the size, will have different organisational structures. Larger organisations tend to have a more sort of hierarchical structure. And if Jalal working in defence, then most likely having a very bureaucratic hierarchical structure in a big government department like that, whereas others in a smaller, perhaps more creative organisation might be a bit flatter. So what they're doing, the nature of their work and the size of the organisation will impact the structure. Having a management structure to ensure tasks are delegated, and I think I read that one. Thanks, Ryan. Yeah, well done. So, and this is where it comes in with the human resource management, making sure we've got the right people and managing those people, training them if needed to have the right skills, and making sure they've got all the resources needed to achieve their goals. Excellent. Now, leading is also a big part of what managers do. Not all managers are leaders and not all leaders are managers, but it does come under a function of management, and it is an important one. What are your thoughts about leading? What does that entail, and why is that important? Maybe you might work for a manager who is an effective leader, or maybe they're not a leader. Lead by example. Yeah, that's right. They often set the tone for culturally, and that's really important. They've got to model what they propose, and that might bring in the communication. An example for others on how to work and behave. Great. And yeah, often they will be the ones to train or mentor their employees or team members. So they've got to have that skills and the knowledge to be able to impart that on their colleagues. Great. Being able to act as a decision maker in certain scenarios to assist your team. Excellent. Yes, certainly decision making is a big part of that, having that knowledge and experience in order to make the right decisions. It's great that you use the word to assist the team. So they're not separated, but they're part of the team. Clear directions, good examples. So again, that role model type of things, really important. Maintaining a shared vision or goal. Yes. understanding strengths and weaknesses of the teams. Yes, so bringing in that emotional intelligence and seeing perhaps where people can work well together, having those complementary skills, what would make a good team, or maybe providing some support for those to improve. Yeah, that's a really important one, those interpersonal skills. A leader's able to do the task as well, not just expect you to do it. Absolutely, especially like at the team leader level, and that gives them, if they've got that knowledge and experience and those technical skills, that makes them a little bit more credible, and people want to follow them because there's that trust there. Leading, I guess, about guiding people towards a goal. Yes, knowing how to communicate. Oh, great, you brought in the communication side of things. Wow, so a lot of people have a lot of thoughts about leading, which is great. And again, we can relate that to many areas of our lives. And it is linked, as we can see here, to the motivation side of things. And to, you know, if you've got a manager who's able to lead you, you're hopefully going to feel good about the work that you're doing. You can see how it fits into the bigger picture of achieving those bigger organizational goals, not just that you're a cog in a machine, and that you put in a little bit of extra effort because you feel valued and a bit empowered as well, that you are making a difference. And the communication side comes in. It's great that someone mentioned there the vision and of the goals, because once you've got that idea about the direction you want to go, you've got to communicate that with everybody so that they can get on board and follow you. And it is, as we mentioned there, about those interpersonal skills, recognise the strengths and the weakness of individuals and how individuals can work together to achieve things. So, yeah, excellent. Now, what about this last function? This is another really important one, controlling. What's your understanding of controlling? Quality of work meets standards. Great way to start. Yeah, excellent. KPIs, excellent example to bring in, to explain control. Would you like, Simon or Angela, would you like to turn on your mic and just perhaps expand on that a little while the other chats are coming through? Setting expectations of staff members, task deadlines. Yep. Yes.
I was thinking along the lines of in business, you've got, for example, Australian standards that you have to meet, minimum standards along those lines. So the boss has to sort of ensure that the work's up to those standards at least. Otherwise, they could be liable. They may have to redo work, and you know, pay again to have the work redone. Sorry, it comes out of their pocket to have the work redone if they've got to do it for free, if the standards aren't up to scratch from the start.
Yeah, that's a strong motivator to check things, isn't it, and have that control function working. Thanks so much, Simon. And Angela, you mentioned there the KPIs as well. So you've got that measure which you are comparing the work against. So those KPIs are the standards, and then you are monitoring performance, as Talina mentioned here, monitoring the performance to ensure that your achievements and your goals are met. Excellent. And that's why we've got that link with the control function to the planning function, because we're checking and we're comparing our actions against those objectives that we set. And if we aren't meeting those objectives, then we've got to take some corrective action. So often when we think about the control function, we think, oh, it's just about controlling people, and that it can be part of it, but it's not all of it. It's about other things as well, as you mentioned there, the products or whatever it might be. Excellent. So these are the 4 functions that we will return to during the trimester, and so it's great to have this sort of as our foundation to build on as we go forward. And great that you've already got a really good grasp of these concepts and thinking of some examples. Excellent. So let's just I know you mentioned the unit there before. So we've got those 4 functions. How are you going to apply these to M132? What are your plans for this unit? How might you organise resources? How might you lead, in other words, motivate yourself? And what control measures can you use to check that you are on track to succeed and do well? So what you can do here, I'll give you a few options. Again, you can use the chat box, you can use the mic. You can also, if you want to, write on the screen, and I'll pop those instructions in the chat and you can type. May get a little bit busy, but we'll see how we go. So that's just to, at the top of the screen, you'll hover your mouse over the top, and a drop-down menu or a pop-up screen will appear, and you click on View Options, Annotate, click on the T for text, and you can choose a colour if you want, and you can then type directly on the screen. I'll give you a moment to think, but you can also use the chat, and we can monitor that way there too. Again, you can write in any box, and I will just remove the names of people so you can write freely if you like. Oh, okay. So we're getting a bit messy. There we go. It'll tricky at first, we'll work it out. What your target grade will be, plan, yep, excellent. Well, it looks like we've got a pretty full board there. Thank you for everyone who contributed. And if you've got some further ideas to add, do feel free to add them. What have we got here with the planning? So target grade, yeah. What have you set yourself to achieve? Fantastic. And then creating a schedule to achieve that. Yes, that can certainly, and seeing what fits in. How much to study? Yes. What is the workload and the expectations for each week? Daniel, did you want to say something?
I didn't go back, so I just.
No worries. All good. Yes, so how much you got to study? So we generally say about 10 hours per unit. of independent study. So, you know, maybe reading, taking notes, doing some research for assignments and things like that. And that may increase when you do have assignments due. So in these early weeks, you know, you probably wouldn't be doing 10 hours for M 132. But yeah, allow that. And if you're studying 4 units, yeah, it is like a full-time job. So being prepared for that. Planning study time around your work hours. Yes. Yeah, that's right. That's a big part of it too. Seeing again when those pressure points are and seeing when the deadlines are for all your other units. So yeah, a big part of that, the planning stage is working out, your calendar, your goals, your other commitments, what are the due dates, the time that's needed, all of those sorts of things. Excellent. And organising how and when and what you study. Yes, what are the resources? The textbook. Have you all had a look at the textbook? Are you all able to access it okay? And what are your thoughts about the textbook? It's okay if you haven't read it yet. Just some initial impressions. Great that it's free. Yes, absolutely. Our previous textbook was about $130 new. So, yep, lots of likes there, and so far so good. Excellent. And you can use highlighter. It's got a highlighter function, so you can highlight, you know, sections to help with your revision and note taking as well. So, and you can do a keyword search. So if there's a concept there, you can put that in the search term and up it will come. So yeah, hopefully you'll find it really quick and easy and positive there. As we said in the lecture, one drawback is that it does use primarily American examples, but in our seminars, in the classes, lectures, I should say, we will try and apply them to a variety of more local examples. I don't know if I've got any examples from Chile, but maybe we can think of some, or you can share some with us there. Organising your notes, the resources, yes, absolutely. And again, time management and the calendar, great. And leading, motivating. This is interesting because this will be tricky, isn't it? So again, in the early weeks, we're keen, we're ready to go, and we're eager. But when the pressure mounts and we get a little bit anxious, it can be tricky to keep going and to remember why we're here. So having some strategies in place to stay on top of your work and be disciplined is good. Having some group mates, yes, absolutely. And so this is where maybe coming to classes and staying engaged each week, having that routine can help you keep going. Being accountable to your team members, fantastic. Yeah, a lot of students do say that with the teamwork, it does motivate themselves, and if they were doing that assessment by themselves, they might not put in as much work, but they don't want to let their team members down, and as a result, they tend to do better. So yeah, it's interesting you made that point. That's great to see. Control function now. Your results will, by how you perform the other three. Yes, so looking at your results, you can see like you'll get your marks and feedback for assignment 1.1 before you submit 1.2. And as I mentioned at the start of the session, the whole idea is that you can look at that to help you make improvements for that next assessment. So yeah, looking at the feedback, looking at the rubric, that is a great way to check that you are on track to meet your goal of achieving whatever grade it is that you want. Controlling your, yes, sleep, diet, all of those sorts of things, that balance between studies and other commitments is really important. Checking in on your mental health. Are the assessments for this unit through OnTrack? I'm not quite sure, Cooper. Perhaps someone else might be able to assist you there. I'm not sure what track is. No, oh, thank you, Paul. Can you just let me know what track is? I'm not quite sure what that is. Seek guidance from the unit. It's great that you mentioned, yes, resources there from other staff. OnTrackers platform some units used for submitting work. No, no, we don't use that. Thank you so much for explaining that. That's the first time I've heard of that, and I'm involved in a few units. But with our assignments, you submit through the assessment Dropbox on the unit site. So I'll get that up here, and just at the top of the screen, you will submit through here, and you submit assignments through the link there for each assessment. Yeah, no, good to ask. Thank you for raising that. And yeah, now's the time to ask, but those questions are welcome at any time. So yeah, I learned something too. So I appreciate that. Excellent. So thank you all for contributing there. Some really good points. And again, in the first week, it's good just to be clear about what it is, how we are going to set, what it is that we want to achieve and how we're going to do that. I'll just clear the screen now, and I'll share with you a few other resources that you may or may not be aware of that you might want to check. And I'll share with these in some of the links with you in the chat box as well. So, so there's an assignment planner through Deakin Study Support. Again, if you have used some of these, let us know how you found them or what you might find useful. And so this just helps you to put in the key details of your assignments and to help you with that side of things. There's also online and PDF and Word planners that you can download to help with your time management, because I know that can be a tricky thing for all of us to manage. And other resources in the unit site too, like Deakin Study Support and the referencing site. There's lots of links too. So there's the referencing page, and Deakin Study Support has a lot of resources too. And I'm sure, again, just being familiar with that is a good place to start. Anything else, anyone that, oh, Angela, you've added there. Oh, great. The unit guide, useful. You copy that and modify it so you can add. That's excellent advice. And yeah, it's got that, the weekly planner at the end of the unit guide is really helpful to see what we're doing each week and how that fits in with assessment and the dates there. Yeah. Oh, it's great that you're using that. And thank you for sharing that tip with all of us. Excellent. Okay. And the key point with all of this is to to be aware that there is a lot of resources both inside the unit and also at the university level. And you know, if you are going through a tough time or feeling a bit stressed, do reach out, because there is a lot of support. And you know, we've been teaching first year students for many years, and so you know, we can assist you in, and if we can't directly assist you, we will guide you to where you can go. In terms of accessing these links too, I should just mention, and you may already be aware, just on the homepage, on the right-hand side, you'll see Uni Help, and there's a drop-down menu, and it has a lot of these sorts of university links. There's also the study help, and you can go directly to these sites through the widgets here on the homepage. And if you want to meet people, the peer mentors and study mentors and societies and so on, you can find that directly through here as well. Certainly in terms of the assessment, next week we will focus on the assessments in detail, and we'll go through the requirements there and do some practical activities to support your learning with that side of things. Yeah, there we go. All right, so I'll return to our slides, and thank you everyone there for your comments. That's great. Students helping students is the best. Oh, actually, sorry, just before I do that, I meant to mention Smart Thinking. Has anyone used Smart Thinking before? No? This is a tool that you might use. It provides feedback for your assignments, and here's the link here. It may be, just bear with me one sec, in the discussion page under writing, citing and referencing help. There's the link to Smart Thinking, and I'll just expand that so everyone can see a bit more. And you can submit your drafts of your assignment and you get feedback within 24 hours. And students have told me that it's really helpful. It's a really useful tool. So that's another thing that you might choose. And you just, yeah, it's all done online. And the other one there is Turnitin. So for our new students, is anyone not familiar with Turnitin? Everyone is familiar with Turnitin, I'm assuming. But you can, again, before you upload your assignment for marking, you can check your draft through the link here. Okay, so if someone who is familiar with Turnitin, would you like to just provide a brief explanation? One of our second year students, would you like to just share your understanding of Turnitin? All gone quiet.
Oh, I can.
Oh, thank
Okay.
you, Ryan. I'd appreciate that.
That's right. Basically, it's a platform where you can sort of submit a copy of your work, and then within a couple of minutes, it'll look over your work and analyze it, and then tell you what parts of it are similar to previous works that have been submitted or previous online works and all that sort of thing. And it'll give you like a percentage of how similar it is. So the lower the better, I think.
Yeah, there's no magic number. And again, it will depend on the assessment that you're doing. But yeah, you're right. Generally speaking, then the lower the better. Thank you so much. That's really helpful. So I've just shared with you a link that just gives you some more information about how to use it. Again, it is just a guide. So some students look at the result and go, oh my goodness, the percentage similarity result is very high. And you may find that your Turnitin result for assignment 1.1, for example, may be very high. But the reason is because of the nature of the task. So you have to do a draft table of contents. So because the table of contents is based on an assignment that everybody has, and we have, nearly 1,000 students enrolled, there's going to be a bit of a similarity there because it's the same content. And also the reference list, often references will show up as a match and give a false positive, if you like. So it's really useful in terms of looking at how you've used source information in your writing, and you can see, oh, perhaps I need to paraphrase that idea a little bit more in my own writing style, and maybe I need to use some different words there to explain those concepts. I use the same similar cover page for all my assignments. They all get, yeah, exactly. That's exactly right, Paul. And in your report, you will have similar headings, so there'll be a match. So it's always good just to check the report itself, and you can see the writing style. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, it's another tool. And again, we want you to check your drafts and use it as a learning tool rather than a punishment tool after the fact when you can't really do much about it. So that's a resource there. Thanks so much. And yeah, really appreciate students helping students. Okay, well, let's now return, and what we might do next is, so hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea of getting started, and perhaps after class building on that momentum to sort of get some structures and resources in place to help you do well. What we're going to do next, I'm going to pop you into some teams, and you can have a bit of a chat with each other. I'll pop you into breakout rooms, and so in your breakout rooms, I'll share with you a file, but you can also access this, and I'll just change the screen. You can also access this file in the content folder under week 1. And sometimes we'll post some resources. This is where I will post the seminar recording tomorrow. And we've got a couple of activities here, but we'll see how we go with time. And I'll share with you my OneDrive file. And in your teams, if you can have a look at adding to this, so choose when you go into your breakout room, make a note of your breakout room number. And so I'll just share with you that file. And this is a share file, so we can all work on it. You'll all have access to it. And so when you go into your breakout room, make a note of your group number, and that will be where you can work on, or just choose a random line that no one's working on, and just add some thoughts to that. You can use the share file, or you can download the Word file from here. And what we're looking at is just some of the managerial behaviours that you have experienced that are really positive, that you admire, that you think are effective, and some of those aspects of managers that you've worked with or seen that you don't like so much, and a job title of one manager that's known to a member of your team, and what their level was, their roles that they perform, and the skills. So we looked at that from the chapter, and so you might review perhaps the week 1 lecture slides just to sort of refresh your memory of that, or chapter 1 of the textbook. And then last point there, discuss how this manager gets things done with and through people efficiently and effectively. Now, do you remember our definitions of efficiently and effectively? What's the difference? What are we trying to do when we are working efficiently? What's the goal there? Again, you know, if you haven't watched the lecture, if you haven't read the textbook, it's okay, but just your understanding of it. Any thoughts? Again, in the seminars, we're not about being perfect, we're about having a go. So, but just generally, efficiency is about avoiding waste. So working, using your time well. Yes, thank you. Maximizing resources, and effectiveness is about the impact of your actions, getting things done in a timely manner. Fantastic. So, and this is a really tricky balance for many managers, because, you know, if you're doing your assignment, for example, and you're really efficient, you might get it done a week before the due date, and you were very efficient because you used your time well, but you might have found when you got your result back that because you rushed things, you maybe missed out some components, and maybe could have gone into a little bit more detail in some of your explanations. But then the other person might have been really effective and had a really complete and, you know, very detailed assignment that covered everything and was perfect, and they spent a long time on it. So they weren't very efficient, but they were very effective. However, because they missed the deadline for being perfect, they missed out. So again, it's trying to balance those two challenges of using your time well and maximizing your resources, but also achieving your goals. So, so anyway, this activity is to look at some of these ideas from week 1 and to apply them to someone that you know and your experience. So what I'd recommend in your group is if one person can volunteer to share your screen. To share your screen, I think, let me know if you're unclear, but it's just hovering the mouse at the bottom of the screen, another pop-up menu will come up and you'll see a green button, share screen. Have your file open, and then having that shared screen just gives a bit of a focal point for everyone and to contribute. All right, so the time is 7:17 Melbourne time. So have about maybe until about 7:30 for this activity. So roughly about 10 to 15 minutes. And but if you come back earlier and finish, then that's all good. And we can talk about it. So, but use this time too to have a bit of a chat, get to know your classmates, and have a break from my voice. And we'll come back and hear about your results. Now, does anyone have any questions before we go? All good, thumbs up. So just to repeat, we'll go into some groups, have a bit of a chat, hear about your experiences, and have a bit of discuss some of these concepts here. So let me just pop you into your groups. So, and we'll aim to come back at about 7:30-ish. And make a note of your group number, and here we go. You should be able to see your group number there, and to click on the move to your room. Jalal, how are you going?